If you've been watching my streams, you've probably heard me saying this.
Fuck! I wanna jerk off!
No, not this one. But not long after that, I did tease that the next video that I plan on doing, and I can't remember everything I said, but I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of passion project, as in the type of video that I will want to make, a review of a series that I find amazing, like The Greatest Estate Developer, a manhwa I've been following for years and has brought me endless amounts of joy with its writing, characters, humor, and unexpectedly emotional moments. It recently ended, and in a time where most long-running series ends in an unsatisfying manner, this series completed everything perfectly. Sensational. Absolute cinema, nay, absolute water. So I was planning to make a video, or more like a love letter, for my gratitude towards this series that I would even put into my top 5 pieces of fiction of all time. But then I thought, nobody really gives a shit. So instead I'm gonna talk about a doujin of a yandere who is madly in love with her older brother. Woo! I sure love my job. The first part of the story is the numbers on the title of this video being 375969, where it starts with an established panel that shows a family just chilling in their family home in a cozy 3rd of July. Or is that 7th of March? I don't know, the word is confusing. But regardless, the dad is like, "Hey son, are you winning yet?" And he's like, "No dad." "Fuck off!" Yeesh, what a potty mouth. "Well, do you want to take over my company?" "Nah, I'm good." "Okie dokie. Well, how about you, my lovely daughter of mine? Do you want to take over my company?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure. Thanks, Daddy." And this guy takes notice of that. So the night after, he catches her walking in the middle of the night and grabs her while she was on her way to the toilet. And he's like, "Get over here!" And she's like, "Yeah! Nani desu ka, Oni-chan? Is it about the company thing?" "No, it's about that you called him Daddy! I am your daddy!" "No, stop! Stop! Yamete kudasai!" What? What'd I do? Okay, fine. Sorry guys, I was just being a bit stupid. In my defense, I did read this a few years ago, so my memory is a bit fuzzy. So we'll try to do this a bit more accurately. So the actual reason the guy crashed out is kind of because of the company thing, but not really. He's not necessarily against the idea of her taking over the company as opposed to her just doing whatever the parents want instead of her own desires, which is a common trait that he's noticed she's had ever since their divorcee parents got married and she became his stepsister. Wait, what? Hold on, she's your stepsister? I thought she was your... Did I misremember things, or did I get hit with the Mandela effect? No, seriously, I genuinely thought that they were blood related this whole time. So anyways, he then crashes out saying, "Hey, it's your life, isn't it? Why do you always accept whatever our parents say so easily, baka yaro?" And she's like, "Oh no, well, it's what daddy and mommy want, so, I mean, no." "Soka, you've got no will of your own." Ni-san? If you don't have any will of your own, then it doesn't matter what I do to you, right? Okay, let's go and move on. Okay, let's skip this part. I think we can do that. Because after 4 to 5 pages of heinous activities between these non-blood related siblings, some freaky shit starts to happen, like static appearing in front of the panel. And the next page then shows a repeat of the first page that we've already read. Same date, same room, same conversation, but this time, different facial expression on this dude and different monologue, wondering whether what he just experienced was all just a dream. But wait, everything he felt in those last 5 pages felt so real. How could it ever be a figment of his imagination? This doesn't make any sense. How could this happen? I need to get to the bottom of this. And what better than to f my sister again? Oh, come on, dude, really? No, I'm not joking. This guy seriously thought of that as the first thing to do. Lord have mercy. And guess what? It didn't fucking work. He gets sent back to the same moment again. Wow. Who would've thunk it? So now the day moves on to July 4th. So it is July. And this time they're in school. And while his friend is talking to him, telling him about how much of a baddie his sister is, this guy is too busy thinking about his life and starts contemplating. Something weird's going on. Don't tell me. Is time actually rewinding? Huh. In that case... Okay, this guy is hopeless. So after playing Mario Smash Bros. With his sister in school, he comes to the conclusion that the time reset has one condition to loop. And that is simply whenever our dude over here decides to do grapefruit activities with his younger sister. But if he don't, then time will progress like normal. Now, a sane human would probably think, well great, then let it progress like normal. But not this guy. No, he decides to repeat this cycle until he lost count. That is fucking insane. But hold your horses, guys, because this is where the twist comes in. Because during his nth run, something different happened. Because our boy accidentally splooshed his population pudding in a place that he shouldn't. Let's just say it like that. But he's like, time will just rewind anyway. But this time, it didn't. Instead, this time, his sister calls him out, and she's like, OMG, I can't believe you finally did it, Oni-chan. I'm so happy, desu. What? What are you talking about? See, you always hesitated, but this time I made sure to help you follow through everything. Wait, always? Have you been remembering everything? Of course I did, Baka. We repeated it 862 times. But lately, your memory's been carrying over too, so I was really surprised. And that's when I thought, if we're gonna do this, I'd want you to fall in love with me first. And man, I'm so glad that these past few dozen times, you are the one who sought me out. Cause I've been feeling this way since forever. Nani kore?
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
Yep, I'd say that's a completely valid reaction. This entire time that we've been thinking that this guy should be in jail, it turns out the sister is the real degenerate of the story. While he seemed like the bad guy, it all turned out to be just be a part of what the sister's been wanting this whole time. And it doesn't even compare to what she's been doing. Merely by the fact that she said the only time he sought her out is during the past few dozen times in the last 862. Now that's crazy. But you know what else is crazier? The reason she did all of this in the first place. And to do that, we gotta talk about part 2 in 381136, where we see how it all happened. In the first July 3rd, where Oni-chan dragged her out at night and scolded her on her lenience, except instead of taking the grapefruit route, he was a much more sane and normal person, so instead he just said, damn bitch, you changed. But this is actually what hurt Miss Yandere more. So she ran away from home, blanked-eyed, repeatedly telling herself that her lovely Oni-chan hates her, and the idea of that has gotten her wanting to unlive. So she walks over to the nearest train track, but then her Oni-chan came from behind her and...
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Now, from thinking her brother hates her to now blaming herself for the death of her brother, she goes ballistic and manages to turn back time. How? Don't worry about it yet. Look, she's so happy that she gets to confess her love now. Aww. So then we get a repeat of the first part, except less degenerate because it's consensual, which is better. Yeah, cause I don't know about y'all, but nothing grinds my gears more than having to watch forced animalistic action towards a non-consenting individual. So she goes on a loop. From 1 goes to 14. To then go to 21, 56, 109, repeating the same thing over and over, and we see her have these looks of doubt, yet still continues doing this loop. We see her in plenty of situations where she can just stop the loop and continue the time while enjoying her newly found relationship with the guy who already accepted her feelings. But then, it all made sense when during one loop, we see Oni-chan slipping, falling down the stairs, and dying an immediate death, to which she found shocking at first, but what followed after wasn't grief, but disappointment. This because during the hundreds of loops she's done, Oni-chan never survives past July 5th, meaning that the time loop repeats itself just to restart his death. And as much as she tries, she gives up and decides to just live out her life in this loop forever so she can live her happy life with her beloved Oni-chan. But can you really call it happy if you spend every day sending your loved one to his demise? Now for the final part, where she has nearly reached quadruple digits in amounts of loops, and Oni-chan has come to a realization and tells his stepsister to let him go. Looks like after all the loops, he starts seeing bits of her memories, like how she got her time powers by working on that company she took over from her dad, and how that means that he is already dead. Meaning that as long as she continues this loop, she will continue to feel constant pain and suffering, but in his efforts to stop her, she ends up being aggressive, crashing out, telling him that she won't let him die forever. So she restarts the loop to a point where she ties him up to a chair. And so she continues her action, where they always restart at this checkpoint now. But after going through it multiple times, Onichan already memorizes the tyings of the knot and breaks free from her clutches. But before he gets to do anything, she rewinds time back to where he's tied again. But it's too late, because he already knows how to escape from it. And this is when an argument enrages. She goes feral, but he's even more stern, breaking her out of her delusion of thinking that this is the life that she wants. Which is ironic if you really think about it, because this whole thing happened because she didn't stay true to her desires, always listening to the demands of other people like their parents. But now that she has the power to do what she wants, the best thing for her to do is to again listen to another person's demand over her own desires. So she decides to do it, but only after they embrace each other once again. And as she ends the loop, she makes him promise. What? What do you mean live on? No, he's dead. Like, he's gone for good. Okay, I guess they messed up the translation here. So, he makes her promise that she will live on and that she will continue to be his lover. And so she finally wakes up in her company laboratory, and as she is about to leave, she hears someone calling her name, and the manga ends as she turns around for the blinding lights and... What the fuck? So... who was that supposed to be? Like, apart from everything, I don't understand the last pages. So, maybe that wasn't a misinput? Like Onichan actually lived, and that's how we saw in the end? But, you know that shouldn't happen because we've seen it happen all the time. He dies. He continues to die. What's so different now? I don't know, this is kind of bothering me because they could have just ended this with a sad ending, but instead they tried to pull a Kimi no Nawa without it making any sense. Like, that movie left the door open for miracles, but this doujin was trying to be cut and dry with how it's supposed to end. Plus, the way she ended the loop acting like she's accepted his death? Or is that her waiting to see him alive? Okay, yeah, look, whatever. As far as endings go, that was absurd, but the rest of this writing is pretty damn good. I like how it's so twisted and changes your point of view multiple times. The only thing it suffers from is the fact that it is a doujin, so they naturally have to prioritize adding the action scenes into the mix. And considering that the first part is when his sister made the Onichan go into demon mode, that makes the majority of this first part just a showing of this guy doing grateful activities to his younger sister. Which, I mean, if you're into that, well, yeah, good for you, man. Sure, just stay right there, okay? I'ma just make a call real quick. But really, the dark twist by the second part really took me out of surprise and shocked me with how gruesome the story actually is, and how much love this yandere actually has. Then of course the third part with its weird ending, I still thought that it was a nice showing of a bittersweet romance where two people have the misfortune of being in a love that's not meant to be, which is classic tragedy storytelling but told in a way that's not often seen by adding sci-fi and supernatural themes into it. I really like the series. I think as far as creativity goes, this is up there with one of the best without it being too freaky that it takes you out of the immersion. And the action, although I ain't into it, isn't bad. Maybe the first part is a bit much, but after knowing the backstory of why/how it happens, it really makes up for it. Art is nice too, romance is tragic, two boobs are in the mix, definitely not for the average person, but knowing all of my viewers, yes, all of you, I don't see y'all having any problems with it. So I'ma give 375969 a solid 8.5 out of 10. Oh yeah, the estate developer is a 10 out of 10.